The process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis involves a series of complex chemical reactions in which carbon dioxide and water react in the presence of light energy and chlorophyll to form carbohydrates. Oxygen is given off as a byproduct. Now the reactions can be summarized in the following equations. First, looking at the word equation, where carbon dioxide reacts with water in the presence of sunlight energy, which is absorbed by chlorophyll, to form carbohydrates in the form of sugar, with oxygen being given off as a byproduct. Now the byproduct, meaning that it is not the main reason for the reaction. The main product of photosynthesis is the carbohydrate. This can also be represented using chemical symbols, where 6 molecules of carbon dioxide combine with 6 molecules of water to give 1 molecule of carbohydrate, and 6 molecules of oxygen are given off. The process can be outlined in 2 general stages. In other words, this process of photosynthesis can be divided into 2 main stages. Namely, there's a light stage and the dark stage. The light stage is also known as light dependent stage because it requires light, the presence of light, for it to proceed. This light stage involves 2 processes. The 2 processes are 1. Photolysis of water, and 2. Synthesis of ATP molecules, that is the adenosine triphosphate molecules. In the first process, that is photolysis of water, it occurs in the granum. This process occurs in the granum where chlorophyll molecules are present. The chlorophyll molecules absorb light energy, and this energy is used in splitting of water into oxygen and hydrogen ions. In the process, some energy is also released. Chlorophyll absorbs light energy. The light energy is used to split water into hydrogen ions and oxygen. Now, during this splitting, some energy is released, and this energy is what is used to drive the second process that takes place during the light stage, and that is the synthesis of ATP molecules. So, some of the light energy is used to combine adenosine diphosphate and a phosphate molecule to form the adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. The ATP molecule is the energy molecule in cells. Chemical energy is stored within ATP molecules. So, when the energy is required, the ATP molecule will be broken down to its constituent adenosine diphosphate and phosphate, and the energy released in the process is used to drive a number of biochemical reactions in the cell. So that is the first stage, or the first part of photosynthesis, the light stage. It occurs in the granum part of the chloroplast. This is where we have chlorophyll molecules. Now, since this reaction requires light energy, chlorophyll must be present to absorb this light energy, and then the light energy is used to split water, and also is converted into chemical energy, and it is used to synthesize ATP molecules. In the second stage, known as the dark stage. This stage, since does not require the presence of light, is therefore referred to as a light independent stage. And during this stage, carbon 4 oxide combines with hydrogen to form simple carbohydrate. This combination, the reaction between carbon 4 oxide and hydrogen, is known as carbon 4 oxide fixation process. So the process that takes place in the dark stage is the carbon 4 oxide fixation, in which hydrogen, this remember is coming from the granum after the splitting of water, combines with carbon 4 oxide, most of which comes from the surrounding, like for example in the atmosphere, to form simple carbohydrate. This process occurs in the stroma part of the chloroplast, because it is in the stroma that the enzymes that drive the process are found. Apart from being enzyme controlled, this process is energy consuming, and the energy is provided by the ATP molecules produced in the light stage. So this ATP that was formed during the light stage provides the energy that drives the carbon 4 oxide fixation process. The product of this fixation process are simple carbohydrates. Now, this simple carbohydrate is then built up into a number of molecules. So, the simple carbohydrate that is first formed may be converted to glucose. This glucose can then be converted to fructose, and glucose and fructose together used to form sucrose. The glucose can also be converted into starch for storage. That glucose can be used to form cellulose, which makes up the cell wall of plant cells. Or alternatively, the simple carbohydrate may be converted into amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Alternatively, the simple carbohydrates can be used to form fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acids and glycerols are used to make up lipids. So, after formation, the first carbohydrate that is formed will be glucose. Or, again, depending on the needs of the plant, the simple carbohydrate can be converted to amino acids for protein synthesis, or fatty acids and glycerol that are used to make lipids for the plant.